You for the opportunity to speak to all of you today. It really does mean a lot, especially because, and this might surprise some of you, Ivey was completely okay with not seeing my speech in advance. In fact, no one has ever seen this speech, meaning that what you're about to hear is totally honest, totally genuine, and most importantly, poorly edited and not very good. But I'll try my best. It's also a good segue into the main theme of my speech, which is, of course, why am I the person that's speaking to you today? Don't get me wrong, I'm really thankful, but you guys had 7 other people to pick from, and each of them would have done a much better job of giving this speech. So if you don't mind, I'd like to take a few moments to explain exactly how and why you guys messed up. First, you could have picked Grant McNaughton. I've known Grant for 4 years, and I don't know if I've enjoyed working with anyone at Western more than him. It's also nice that he's not here, so all these comments and compliments don't get credit for it. That's fine. He was a co-president of the Ivey Pride Club, VP of ICC, and I think everyone here who knows Grant will agree that it would be tough to find someone that is as positive, fun to be around, and strong as he is. As VP University Affairs, Christine Yan helped support inclusivity at Ivey, be it through organizing charity fundraisers, peer-to-peer office hours, or just little things like therapy dogs during exam season to make sure people were doing okay. More importantly though, I could always rely on Christine to be the person I made eye contact with from across the class in Mac when neither of us had any idea what the hell was going on. As VP Student Events, Nevin Sewell was pretty much the hype man of Ivey for a full year. That included last night. However, one thing that doesn't get talked about enough is how much work, care, and thought he put into every event he organized. And all of us need to thank him for how much he cared about our experience at Ivey. Then there's Kevin Churchill. As HBA president, Kevin was, in a very, very weird way, like a father to 1,200 ages. But he also helped make Ivey what it was for us. And like any good dad, he did it without expecting a thank you. Kevin, happy belated Father's Day. Next, Micah Hansen. Micah was the co-director of Ally at Ivey and co-president of the Ivey Social Impact Club. When I think of Micah, I think about the time that the Leader Project was pitching to the HBA to get funding for First Nations entrepreneurs. Right away, Micah took it upon himself to make it happen. He didn't need to, but he cared about the cause and was willing to fight for it, because that's the kind of guy he is. Paul Okundai. Paul somehow managed to go through Ivey while balancing everything perfectly. Academics, recruiting, a social life, being a good person, a social life. However, what most people don't realize is that he's also the most famous person at Ivey. I'm talking, of course, about the fact that Paul was recently featured working out in a Facebook video that now has over 7.5 million views. Paul, congrats. Lastly, there's Katie Chen. Katie's one of my best friends, so I'm very biased. But the fact that she got the gold medal, I think, proves what we already knew. She's the smartest person in the room. She's also the keenest person in the room. She also helped organize the Ubuntu Scholarship Program, pushing Ivey to raise money for deserving students from Africa and helping to make a difference for people that she doesn't even know. And then there's me, the guy whose biggest accomplishments are basically related to the fact that I like to swim, that I like to bike, and that I like to travel. Sick. Really cool. I basically sound like an 8-year-old describing his favorite thing to do on the weekend. But we're here now, so I'll do my best to ramble about something half interesting. Like many of us, I've been lucky enough to spend the past 2 months traveling around the world. And traveling means a lot of time to think. One thing that I keep thinking about is a really simple question. And that question is life long or is it short? Is life long or is it short? It's a tough question. Somewhere along the road, I think we all convinced ourselves that life is really long. And that shapes how we think about a lot of different things. When we think about our careers, our relationship with our family and friends, we all seem to think that we have all the time in the world. And maybe we do. But I think that conflicts with a lot that we know about the world. It conflicts with a lot of what we see and feel. Yes, life is really long, but we all know what it feels like to have a friend that is no longer in our life and who we never got a chance to say goodbye to. We all know someone who has passed away from this world before their time. We all know what it's like to have a memory, one that lasted for 4 years, or for a day, or for even just a minute, and wish that we could live in that moment forever. So, is life long, or is it short? I think I realized that the truth is somewhere in the middle, as it usually is. Life is really long, and we have a right to keep thinking that. But I think there's a lot of value in reminding ourselves how short life is. I often find myself in the trap of thinking that life is long. It comes in simple examples. When I see a text from my mom, and I have the time to reply right away, but I don't. When my dad asks if I'm coming to visit this weekend, and I know that I can push that thing that I have, but I don't. When I have a chance to say something nice to a friend, something that I know will make her happy, but I don't. And that's because I think that I have so much time with my mom, my dad, and my friends that I don't need to do the right thing, the good thing, all the time. But sometimes I think about who I would be and how I would act if I knew that life was short. I wonder if I would ever pass an opportunity to spend time with my mom and dad. I wonder how I would act with them, how present I would be, and how I would show them that I love them. If I knew that life was short, I wonder what I would say to my friends. I wonder if I would ever say anything other than what would make them feel better about themselves and what would make them smile. If I knew that life was short, would I ever say anything that I didn't really mean? Would I ever say anything that hurt somebody else if I knew that maybe I wouldn't have time to take it back? Who would I be and how would I act if life was short? I think it's also useful to ask this simple question about our careers. Whenever we talk about our professional lives, we're taught to think that life is definitely really, really long. We're told that when you get out of university, you might just have to do some things that you don't love. But you're setting yourself up for the future. You're getting something called experience. You'll get a logo on your resume, and one day, someday, in 5 years, maybe 10 years, maybe 20, you'll get to a place where you're ready to follow your passion. But what if life is short? Now, I know that not everyone will agree with me on this. Sometimes when people don't live as if life were long, they're called impatient and privileged, inexperienced and idealistic. Because life is long. You'll get time. You'll get there. You just have to wait for it. As well, of course, you need to take care of your responsibilities, student debt, taking care of your parents, dealing with your reality, and of course, that's fair. I'm 22 years old, which means that I really don't know anything about anything. But just for a second, indulge me. Let's say life is short. If life is short, would you spend the next year of your life the way you're planning to? If life is short, why would you spend any time doing anything but what you enjoy? If life is short, why are you spending so much time listening to others and not to yourself? If life is short, whose opinion matters more? Your head or your heart? I don't know. One thing that I've realized about life is that, in the end, we all do it our own way. But I felt like I needed to say what I said today because of who I'm saying it to. I don't mean to be cheesy, but I don't think people in our class realize how special they are. I've been lucky enough to travel around the world, but Ivey is the only place I've ever been to where in one single building I found an artist who can grab a marker in a breakout room and without thinking, draw something beautiful. A musician who can pick up her violin and capture the ears of a full room of people. Where I found advocates, one who wanted to stand up for the challenges facing his home of Newfoundland, another one who dedicated her time and energy to supporting mental wellness in Canada's northern communities. Where I found people who have used their voice to fight against anti-Semitism, Islamophobia, homophobia, sexism, racism, and everything else that is wrong with our world. I've never in one building met more women that are as strong and as ready to kick down every stupid stereotype that stands in their way. In one building, I've never met as many men who are willing to empathize with causes that they care about and dedicate themselves to others. I guess what I'm asking of you is, how would you live your life if you knew that life was short? Most of us are heading into either banking, or marketing, or accounting, consulting, or any of the other ings. And these are all great places to start. But please, do me a favor and don't get trapped in thinking that you have all the time in the world. None of you were made for boring desk jobs, so don't pretend to be something you're not. Don't deprive the world of who you really are. Life's too short for that. I wanted to end with a quick little story. You might know a famous American author named Kurt Vonnegut. Every lecture he gave, he ended it by talking about his uncle Alex. Now, the thing that Alex found so frustrating about most people is how they never seemed to notice when something good was happening. They just let the moment pass and slip away. So, Alex had the habit of saying, when a nice moment came along, if this isn't nice, I don't know what is. Take a second to realize where you are right now. You just graduated from university. Everyone who made you who you are today is either in this room, is thinking of you, or is looking down at you from above. Everyone is proud of you, and you should be proud of yourself. Remember today, because days like today don't come around that often. And maybe, when you get a chance, tell yourself, if this isn't nice, I don't know what is. Thank you.